So example 3 here. Example 3 is something a little bit new. We talk about what we call function notation. Function notation, bottom line, you just have to remember that function notation is a fancy way to write equations. It's a fancy way to write equations. And I'll give you a quick example. Here is an equation. Y equals 2x plus 3. It's an equation you've probably seen before. This is an equation. To write that exact same equation using function notation, look how it changes. 2x plus 3, exactly the same. Except now I say that the function of x is equal to 2x plus 3 instead of y is equal to 2x plus 3. Nothing else changes. Nothing, absolutely nothing at all. Okay? So you have to remember that because we're going to deal with function notation, and questions are going to ask you to write equations using function notation or change a function notation equation to an actual equation. Okay? Example 3. Carmen works for a research company in a shopping mall. The equation P is equal to 5n plus 30 represents her daily pay. P, of course, being dollars. How much money is she paid when she conducts n number of surveys? Describe the function. Write the equation using function notation. Okay? So to describe the function, write the equation using function notation. Description of the function is basically that her pay is equal to 5 times the number, 5 times the number of surveys plus, what was it, 30? $30. Basically what that is. Writing it in function notation, so this is our original equation. P is equal to 5n plus 30. Function notation, I leave the equation part or the second part the same, and I just change this to P bracket n bracket. And what that means in words, it means P of n equals 5n plus, oh, those are supposed to be 30s, 30. Okay, so function notation, instead of saying y equals or p equals in this case, it's the words are p of n. So what pay of 6 surveys is equal to, here's your question, 5 times 6 is equal to 30. Okay. Question B, find the value of P8. Well, I know that my function notation equation, Pn, is equal to 5n plus 30, but now I want P of 8, so I just change the n to an 8. But because I changed the n to an 8 on one side of the equal sign, I have to change the n to an 8 on the other side of the equal sign. Whoops, not 30, plus 30. Now I can just simply work this out. P of 8 stays the same. 5 times 8 is 40, plus 30. P of 8 is equal to 70. The next question says, or the next part says, what does this number represent? This number represents, $70 represents her pay for 8 surveys. Question C, find the value of n when P of n, P of some number, is equal to 90. So here's our equation, our function notation equation. P of n is equal to 5n plus 30. But now it's telling us that P of n is equal to 90. So I can take this 90 and I can substitute it in for P of n. 90 is equal to 5n plus 30. Now, like I've said before many times, when we have a variable that's one variable in an equation, we can solve for that variable. We solve for that variable by doing inverse or reverse operations. I want to subtract 30 because I want this 5n by itself. So this becomes 60 is equal to 5n. And I subtracted 30 from both sides of the equal sign because if I don't, I really mess up the question. Now I'm going to divide by 5 because I want the n by itself. So I divide both sides by 5. 60 divided by 5 is 12 is equal to n. So 12 surveys would give Carmen $90 in pay. Now, function notation causes grief all the time. If you have questions, please ask. Otherwise, work through the work that's listed at the bottom, and we will see you in class.